99 out of 100 times, the reason why you fail your prop firm challenges or you fail your funded accounts is the risk management. Risk management is probably the number one thing that you should master even before you master your technicals. You can have the perfect trading strategy, but if you fail to master risk management, if you fail to understand how risk management works, you can never pass a prop firm challenge. You can never trade on your funded account. You can never get consistent payouts. That is why in this video today, I'm going to be explaining to you how risk management works, what type of risk management you need in order to pass your prop firm challenges, in order to trade on your funded account and get consistent payouts. Make sure that you watch this video until the end, and do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe button. And also, I just have started my prop firm community where you can ask any questions from me, from my team related to any prop that we recommend. Make sure to check that out from the link in description. And also, I started a free education community where I am teaching you how to become profitable trader, pass prop firm challenges, and also trade different accounts for completely free. Make sure to check that out from the link in description as well. Now let's deep dive into today's video and see the first, why you keep failing the challenges, the mistake that you are making, and then what type of risk management you need if you want to be a profitable funded trader in 2026. Now let's first understand the reason why you keep failing prop firm challenges due to poor risk management. So let's say you have a 100k account, right? And in that 100k account, if you're trading with FundedSquad, then of course your phase 1 target is 6%. But if you're trading with other firms, it can be 8% target for phase 1 or maybe 10% target. No matter whatever the target is, let's say 6% for phase 1. So the mistake that you keep making is the very first trade that you are taking. If you're taking it with 1% risk and for some reason that trade went into a loss. Now, if that trade went into a loss, that means now you are down minus 1%. Or in other words, your account is now down to $99,000. So here, if we put 99K, your account is down to $99,000. Instead of now lowering your risk because you have lost your very first trade that you just took on your new prop firm challenge. It can be any account size. Just for the sake of example, we're using 100K account. You have just lost your very first trade that you took. Instead of lowering your risk, now you are going to be increasing your risk. There can be several reasons. Maybe you took that trade because you didn't have any confirmation. You just saw market was moving up or moving down and you ended up chasing the market. That can be one reason. There can be another reason that you didn't really have confidence in your strategy. If you don't have confidence in your strategy and you lose one trade, then ultimately you're going to be over trading or revenge trading from the second trade. So if that is the case, how many times have you done this? The one that I'm going to show you now. That in next trade, instead of lowering your risk, you ended up doing like 2% or 3% risk. Now imagine if you're taking the second trade with a 2% risk by thinking that not only you need to make this 1% that you just lost back again, but also now from this trade you need to be in profit. So you're maybe targeting 1:2 risk to reward, that's 4% profit. So yes, if this trade goes in your profit, then it's fine, you are up 3%. But most of the time you're executing this trade due to emotions, due to revenge trading or over trading. It's likely that this trade is also going to be a loss. Why? Because there are no confirmations behind your execution of this trade. There is no logic behind it. You have no proper plan. What if trade will work out? What if trade doesn't work out? What if A happens in the market? What you're going to be doing then? So most likely this trade is going to be a losing trade again. Now because you wanted to recover that 1%, you ended up over risking. You are risking now on the second trade 2%, and this trade is also going down. So instead of 99k, now you are down to 97k. And once you lose 3%, you have lost your challenge already. And it's not like the drawdown hit. It's not due to that you ended up hitting a drawdown. No, it's psychological loss. You already have lost a prop challenge because you're now down 3%, and it's going to be triggering your emotions. It's going to be making you start randomly jumping into trades from one trade to another trade, and you will always end up chasing the market, which will then make you lose your phase 1 evaluation or phase 2 evaluation or maybe funded account. That is the number one reason why you keep failing the challenges. Let me know in the comment section if this is exactly what has happened to you and if it keeps happening to you, because I'm going to be now giving you the solution that if this is you, then how we can change it for you to become a profitable trader, pass the evaluation and trade on the funded accounts. Now my approach moving forward that I have been testing over the past few months and I'm going to be using for 2026 is that if let's say I have a $100,000 account and my phase 1 target is just 6% and phase 2 target is 6% as well. Now this is going to work in both phases, phase 1 and phase 2, and it's going to be exactly the same, because I recommend if you're taking two-step evaluation, then definitely go for a prop firm that offers you 6% phase 1 and 6% phase 2 target with no consistency rule, without any restrictions on your trading strike. So 6% is your target. So let's say that you take a trade with 1% risk, and I recommend that you take your very first trade with 1% risk. There can be now two outcomes. The outcomes are going to be either trade will be profitable or it will be a losing trade. So one of these outcomes are definitely going to be from the very first trade that you took. So it can be a profitable trade or it can be a losing trade. If it's a profitable trade, because you are making sure that whatever trade that you are taking, by following your plan, by following all the technical ideas that you have implemented and confirmations that you have seen from the market, it's giving you minimum 2%. That means 2 risk to reward ratio. So if it's giving you 2% profit by risking 1%, you're now up 2% on your 100k account. That means your account size is now 102k. This is if trade goes into profit. But what if it's a losing trade? Then you are down to 99k. If you are down to 99k, what you need to do now is, instead of risking 2% on your next trade, you need to lower your risk, even go below 1%. It should be not more than 0.5%. So second trade, in case of first loss, should be 0.5% risk, because in this case now, if you're going to lose your second trade, instead of you now being down at 97k or 3%, you will be at 98.5k. You still have hope. You are still near to your break even or initial balance that you started your account with, and you are likely not to make any more mistakes because you're lowering your risk instead of increasing it. So 0.5% should be the risk that you should be taking on your second trade if your first trade goes into a loss. Now, what if it's a profitable trade? As we said, because you're targeting minimum 1:2 rewards, so you're going to be likely at 102k minimum. So in this case, I recommend that you take an aggressive approach. That means now you need to increase your risk from 1% to the amount that you just made from your very first trade, which should be 2% minimum. So 2% will be your risk on the second trade. So if it's 2%, what will be the target that you should be expecting? It has to be 4%. So if, let's say, the second trade is now going to be profitable, you made this 4% just now from the second trade, and you already made 2% from the first trade. What's the profit now that you have done? 6%. That means in just 2 trades, you have completed your phase 1 evaluation. Now there can be again 2 outcomes. Either this trade that you are taking 2% risk on your second trade because your first trade was profitable, it will either be profitable or it will be a losing trade. It can be anything, right? So if it's a profitable trade, you have reached your phase 1 profit target. But if it's a losing trade, that means you are back to initial balance. What you need to do now, if you're back to initial balance, repeat the same cycle. Start with 1%. No need to panic. No need to think that you just lost the account because you were so near to passing the evaluation. You are still trading your account. No need to revenge trade. No need to randomly jump into any trade that you see. Maybe market is moving up and you decide, okay, let me just take a buy position because I like how market is moving up. No, there has to be a logic behind every single trade that you take. There has to be a proper plan. You need to decide, if you are executing a trade for buy, what will be your exit strategy, where you're going to be putting your stop loss, where you need to take partial profits. Is there any news event that's coming which is going to affect your trade? Everything should be properly planned. So if you're back at initial balance, you need to do the same thing over again. 1% risk. If that trade goes into profit, in the second trade you will do with 2%. But if that trade goes into loss, then you will be risking 0.5% on a second trade. So that's the risk management you should be using in order to pass phase 1 of the evaluation or phase 2 of the evaluation. Try to go with a firm that has 6% phase 1 and 6% phase 2 target. I've added a link in the description if you want to check out FundedSquad. Right now we're doing 50% off. You can take benefits of it. Now the thing is, main question, $1 million question, how do you need to trade on funded account? That's where a lot of traders fail. Traders will be passing phase 1 and phase 2, but when it will come down to how they should be trading the funded accounts, 70-80% of them, they just end up failing. They have funded account and they can request a payout after making a little bit of profits, but they keep failing those funded accounts. There is a reason why that happens. Now let's have a look at that reason, and let's have a look at how you should be trading your funded accounts in order to request consistent payouts and keep getting paid. So as you are not trading a funded account, so there is no profit target that you need to achieve. You can literally request your payout even if you hit 1% profit on your account, even if you make 0.5% on your account, 1.5%, it can be any amount. Now if you have funded account, the reason why you are failing, one of the main reason is that you are just now too excited that you have completed the evaluation. You are now on a funded account, and instead of you controlling your emotion and having a solid risk management in place, now you just randomly take trades with any risk that you want to place. If you have 4% daily draw drawdown. Have you ever seen yourself risking 0.4%, or you always risk all 4% in order to make as much profits as possible? That is the number one reason why most traders fail their funded accounts, because they use whatever they have in their risk basket, which is like, let's say, 4% or 5% daily drawdown, and they want to target big. They want to make more profits. So they will be just using that whole 4%, 5%, or 3% daily drawdown that they have on their funded account in order to get that one big trade, which is gonna bring them tens of thousands of dollars. What's the result always? You fail. You blow your funded account. So instead of this 4%, 2%, 3% risk, or even 1% risk, when it comes down to trading funded account, so it should be 0.5%, and that should be the maximum amount. No matter if you're trading a $2,000 account, if you're trading a $5,000 funded account, if you're trading a $50,000 funded account, or if you're trading a 100,000, 200, 3, 400,000, whatever the account size is, calculate what's the amount when it comes down to that account size. What's 0.5%? What's 0.3%? No, what's the best thing that you can do as a trader is, once you will take a trade with, let's say, 0.5% on 100K, that's like $500 risk that you're going to be taking. If that trade is bothering you, or that loss is bothering you, that means you now need to even lower your risk. If you're not bothered by that $500 loss or 0.5% loss, then 500 or 0.5% is completely fine. But again, if it's bothering you and you keep thinking about it, or you want to now recover that loss, or you want to take any opportunity, any movement that you are seeing in the market, that means 500 is also a big amount, or 0.5% is a big amount. You're not comfortable losing 500 or 0.5% on a 100K account. You need to lower your risk so that your risk stays below 0.5%, instead of you now jumping from one trade to another, to third trade, to fourth trade, randomly taking trades without any confirmation. You keep yourself disciplined, you keep yourself emotionally controlled, and you only take those trades that have higher probability of going in your favor. So 0.5%, guys, is the rule. And always understand yourself as a trader, that what will be the maximum loss that you can comfortably take. So that's how I like to trade my funded accounts. I'm going to be requesting a payout with one of the firm. I have added my other channel link as well. If you want to watch different reviews, if you want to know more about my trading strategies, how I trade, you can subscribe to that channel too. Join the communities. I have added the links in description. And this is it from this video, guys. And let me know in the comment section what you think of my risk management guide. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.